Well, welcome to Nature's Glory Cabin again. More friends and followers video from 12/27/23. This is the second half and the backcountry byway. Here we got a map popping up here that's going to show where we were in Frenchburg and how we went outside of Frenchburg. Down here at the bottom is Frenchburg. We took Highway 36 up to Johnson Branch, then across Johnson Branch it turns into Rattler at the intersection of 1274, and then we go to Clifton from there. And this is a little more detail of the Johnson Branch Hollow Road. Depending on your GPS, it'll tell you it's Johnson Branch or Johnson Hollow. It's Johnson Branch out at the highway. And here we are. We're going to turn in here. There is a sign that says Johnson Branch right there. And we're going to take this back a little ways, and then we're going to hit the trail. It's blacktop for a little while, then it's a little rough blacktop, and then it becomes gravel. This is not a real hard trail. It has gotten worse over time. It was probably a 2 before, now it's more like a 3. I'm going to show you the stuff that's a little more challenging. This is a little hill climb with some rocks. You can do this with a mostly stock vehicle, stock 4-wheel drive that has a little more clearance than your everyday SUV. A Jeep Wrangler, a Bronco, etc. There are a few rocks that can get caught underneath you here and there. There's a few rock ledges you can see we're going up here. This is the second half of the 12/27/23 ride with JT Wells and Dwayne Cox and his family. So they're going to be behind me. We'll show some video of them on occasion. Try to do more emphasis on them at the most part. I'm just showing the hill climb right now. And then I'll switch to the rear camera and we'll show some of them coming up this same hill. This sped up just a little bit, about 1.5 times, much faster than that, and it kind of looks distorted. Now here comes Dwayne on his XJ on 33s, and he has a 3-inch lift, I believe, give or take. And he's coming up the rocks, no problem. JT bringing up the rear on this section. There are a couple of spots on here you need to look out for if you're in a stock vehicle. If you're equipped similar to the way we are, with a little bit of a lift and a little bit of tire, you won't have any trouble with this. I have seen stock Wranglers go up this on street tires. Depending on your level of skill and the people with you. I would never do these alone, especially the first time, because things happen. Had a friend take out a new to him Rubicon, broke an axle the first time out. Had help, so he was able to get out without any trouble. Just beware and try to leave things better than you left them. We stop and pick up a lot of trash along the way. Or folks throwing out all kinds of cans and trash, and I wish people wouldn't do that, but didn't seem to be able to stop them. And we had a problem all of a sudden. Dwayne developed a noise. We couldn't really pinpoint it. We thought it had something to do with the exhaust, but we weren't really sure. We spent a little time looking at it, and he decided to call it a day after this. We got off of this trail. He went on home. Have not heard the diagnosis. I guess hopefully Dwayne will watch this and let me know. Otherwise than that, we had an uneventful day. Nobody had to be winched out. Nobody broke anything. He was still drivable here, so we really don't know at the time what the problem was. I believe he was letting his daughter drive a little bit too. Let her have a little off-road experience. As you can see, once we came up that hill, it was fairly smooth. Now we're going to go up the second hill. It's a little steeper, got a few rocks and some trees down. At one time, these trees were blocking the trail, and thankfully somebody came through here and cut a section out of them where we could get through. That was the first one. I believe there's another one coming up. Again, it's fairly steep here. The camera doesn't do this justice, but it's not hard. Cut an awful lot of this out. You can do just Johnson Branch in a pretty quick way. You can probably do it in 15 minutes if you don't have any problems. Once we crest the top of this hill, we're going to be seeing some blazes on the trees here. That's the walking part of the shell-toey trace. To the right is the continuation, and to the left is, well, either way you go. It's down here on the left or behind me on the right as we're driving. It crosses. There's old house back here. And we've all of a sudden gotten real smooth. So this is all going to be pretty smooth sailing from here on out. And we stop here. This is our usual stop place. Hopefully you've seen our other videos. This little picnic table here. We stop and do whatever we need to do. And we pull in here and we'll be here for, I don't know, sometimes up to a half an hour. And then obviously I cut that out and we take off. So we're pretty much done there. As we come out on Blacktop, there's a split here. The right is Wayne Benson and we go left and we're heading toward 1274. There it is from behind. And we're continuing on out all the way to 1274 Beaver Creek Road, and there goes Dwayne around us as we stop at the stop sign. He's going to go on home, and JT's pulled up behind me here, and we're going to turn right and head towards Clifton Road. Here it is here. We're turned off 1274. We're going to go down to Clifton, go down a little ways and get the off-road portion, and we get to end at Kendrick Ridge Road, and then we're going to turn right on 460 and head back. And here that is with Dwayne in front of us. And we're going to go down here about 2.2 miles later. You'll see Clifton will be on your left from this direction. We're going to turn into here and go back. I think it's about 1.7 miles. Should have another pop-up here to tell us. And that's when we arrive at the trail section. We usually stop here for a minute and make sure we got everything ready and get into four-wheel drive and all those things. Again, I've cut quite a bit out of this as well. This one's a little longer, got some more stuff in it. So we've got some camcorder, I believe, video in this as well. This is the place where we have the water crossing that we like so much, and it's coming up actually on the trail very shortly. Actually it comes up, so more of a stream. We're going to drive up the stream. There's a couple of waterfalls. They're not too hard to do. This is a little bit harder than Johnson Branch, so it's probably a 3-4 here, where Johnson Branch was a 2-3. I'll explain more of that as we get to the more obstacles. You definitely could use a little more lift and a little more tire. Again, what we have, 33 inches, works. There's a spot I'll talk about later that 33s have to be a little careful to get around a rock. There's my wife taking pictures. Those pictures have already been posted on the Facebook page some time ago. So if you want to go back and look at those, they're out there on the Facebook page. I'm going to stop here and walk back and get this from behind first, I guess. Show that from the rear view camera. Most of these streams have pretty solid bottoms where everybody's been through them. If you try to go through a section that nobody's been through, which would be off the trail, there could be some fairly significant mud. I have seen that in the past. Not here specifically, but it does happen. And here's some camcorder video of JT coming through. I didn't zoom very good apparently. Could have done a little better job at that. My wife is a photographer. She does a better job, but she prefers her camera, and it's hard to get both of them at once. Sometimes we have extra riders with us that don't mind helping out. If you want to help out, let us know. We'd be happy to let you help us with video. There's JT and his, JK. And there's a little spot here. This doesn't show much, but there's a little pipe here, and it's kind of close on the left side. Got to watch your hardtop as you go into that vine limb, whatever it was back there. But you should be able to get up it no problem. These are not traveled as much as others. A lot of folks for some reason don't want to come up on the north side. When you come across Spauld's Creek, it's several miles to get to Johnson Branch and then to Clifton, and then you can circle back and do Pumpkin Hollow if you want to do all of them. Most people do Spauld's Creek, turn right back around and go do Pumpkin Hollow. We don't always, because we have our cabin on the Frenchburg side. Nature's Glory Cabin. Don't forget the Facebook page. And there's a few mud holes here and there. You can choose to go around. This one here, I think you can go around it if you want to. It's not terribly deep, about 20 inches on this day it looked like. I had a bypass around it. Sometimes the bypasses are worse than the actual trail, so might have to be careful. Sometimes they're rutted out more. Again, don't forget, try to take care of the trail, try to clean up if you can, and just in general take care of the area so we can preserve it. I put the picture-in-picture on this. I thought you might want to see the water a little better. There's a little more going on this trail compared to the Johnson Branch trail. More waterfalls, more water crossings. The tree's a little close right there on the left. There's some rocks in there. If you have low clearance, you're going to need to be careful and make sure you get across that. On the left here, this little waterfall is kind of a greenish color. The rocks under it are green. I'm assuming that that's copper in the rocks causing that. If I'm incorrect, somebody can please let me know. So we zoom along through here, and there's several of these water crossings. There's that bumper still on the left. If we ever get up here with somebody with a pickup truck that doesn't mind picking some things up, we'll throw that in the back if you don't mind. Kind of hard to handle in a two-door Wrangler. Again, that was the same thing from the rear. Now we're coming up here, we're coming up on the bigger rock climb. It's not hard, but there's a pipe here where these tree limbs are off the side. So look at it here on the left, you can see it. Be careful and don't cut on that edge. That may be a sharp edge on that metal pipe, so kind of watch for that. I usually stay as far right as I can there. Now we're going to round this corner. Here's JT. He's going to come over that too. You can see the pipe as he comes up on those trees that are falling on the outside of the trail. And there it is right there, and the pipe is right there as well. So again, stay close to the trees and stay off that sharp edge. This little climb here is a little rockier. It's rockier than the Johnson Branch, thus making me rate this a little bit higher. It's not terribly hard. As long as you air down a little bit, you can kind of crawl over these rocks without too much trouble. Just kind of watch your tire placement, because there are a few of them that are bigger than others, and it's easier to put your tire on the rock and make sure you have plenty of clearance for your differential. And hopefully you can see this when we get up through here. Right dead in the center up there around those trees is a white rock. You can see it in the center. That's your biggest problem. On 33s, I hit my differential on that if I try to go straight over it. You watch here, I will go up to the left and put my right tire on top of that and go right by it. If you're on 35s, I've seen everybody being able to go over it. Now that could change in time. But right now, as of this video, anybody with 35 didn't have as much trouble with that rock. And we'll show that rock again here. From behind, you get a little better perspective of the rocks. And there's the rock right there. And a little camcorder video for JT coming up it. He's running regular all-terrains. I believe they're 33s. And he doesn't have much trouble either. Again, don't try to do these trails alone the first time. You don't know what can happen. I have a winch. I have recovery gear on the old TJ. He doesn't have much, but I do have the ability to put a strap to him or winch him if we needed to. I know he has upgrades planned in the future. Now we're coming up on the down tree and the sharp curve. There's a culvert here, a little metal culvert. It is not sharp, it's folded over and you can climb right over it. Just stay to the left here as far as you can. There's a washout on the right. That is getting a little worse over time. So here we are from behind. You can see it a little better. And we'll see JT come through that corner. Excuse me, his is a JKU. Looks like it's a 4-door. I misrepresented that earlier. And I've cut quite a bit of this out, just the spots that look like you'd enjoy. This is rocks going up the hill, the next hill. This has some rock ledges, a few loose rocks here at the beginning. Make sure you put your tire on top, depending on your ground clearance, so you can get over it without hitting a differential. Put the picture on the right here so you can kind of see it's more on the left. There's a big rock there. I think I'm going to try to go over it with my left front tire. Oh, I missed it. Got around it actually. So here comes some ledges. These are not real steep. They're kind of grippy. Haven't seen anybody really slip on these yet. But just take your time and work your way up it. They are bigger in person than they are on the camera. 10-12 inches probably at the most. Most of these are easy enough to get across. There's one there. I think we're going to switch to the rear camera first. And you can see the perspective a little better here. It doesn't show the perspective as well when you're going up the rocks. You can't see how big they are from the rear camera. The left front wheel is the one that does the best with that, going up. Going down, the rear camera you can see better. And there's that big overhang we just saw from the front. And I think now we're gonna, I thought we had some JT footage coming up there. I guess we didn't. And there you see how the tire went across this rock. That was a little bigger. There's 2 or 3 of them. And there's another one here. They're not hard to get up. Just take your time. Watch your tire placement. And I have sped this up. We didn't even go this fast. I was going 2-3 mile an hour. Maybe this makes it look like 5 or 6. And we're coming to the big rock overhang here where everybody stops and hangs out for a while. We're getting close to the end of the trail. When we get to here, we have some mud ruts to climb up here in a bit. And we'll talk more about those as we get to them. And I just sit here for a minute and let him kind of catch up. Don't ever lose sight of the people with you, front or behind. If you do, stop and wait, and you may have to go back and check on them. Something could have happened. Honk your horn if you don't have a radio. We carry GMRS radios to stay in contact, and that's the recommended way of communication. And here we are at the overhang, and I think we got a couple of pictures that the wife took while we were up here. This is a pretty scenic area. There we are hanging out by the Jeeps. There's 2 of us are left now. And now we're taking on off and going to complete the trail. Every now and then you'll meet a local coming through here. I've met a couple on 4-wheelers. Again, part of the backcountry byway, licensed vehicles only unless you're a local. And I mean local as in own property in the area. And then the same rules apply as any other highway. You can only go so far and so fast and those kind of things. Now in front of me here is a little narrow spot over this culvert. Just kind of make sure you place your tires right. And the mud hill behind me, you can see where my rear end kind of skimmed it, right about where he's at right now. I've got an 8.8 rear end in this. It's a little bigger than a Dana 44 housing wise, so it does hang down a little more, so I put a skid plate on it to protect it. Don't really want to be banging on a housing and lose all my oil. I had a friend that did that. There's that culvert where you want to be sure to get placed right coming across it. If you need spotting there, don't hesitate to ask. And here I am going across. You can see the left there, how close it is. But you can see out the driver's side and see how close you are there. The right side's a little more blind. Now we're approaching some mud and ruts and things up through here. Sometimes they're kind of deep. They're a little harder for a stock vehicle. I have seen stocks do this. You have to pick your way through it. And sometimes it's a little slicker than others. Sometimes my rear end slides again. If that's the case, you might see it on the rear camera again. These are deeper than they look on the camera. And now we're approaching the end of it. I think we're going to show some rear camera here first. There's a dead tree hanging across the trail that eventually will be in the trail. And somebody will have to cut it out. Plenty of clearance. I've seen pretty good sized rigs go through there. And here that is from the rear. You can get a little bit of perspective on those ruts there. And I usually stay in it so I don't spin or drag. And I don't mean hard though. I mean, that was sped up a little bit and it still wasn't that fast. And JT coming through. Once I'm sure he's made some progress there, I'll go ahead and go on and stay out of his way. Because sometimes you have to give people plenty of room, either up a hill or down a hill or an obstacle. Just make sure you give them plenty of room so you're out of their way and they're out of yours, depending on what you might have to do. And here we are approaching the tree. This is, we're going to go under it this time and from the rear. And there are a few rocks that are left, but they're not very hard on the way out. Everything's uphill now. There's the tree. Yes, sometimes I state the obvious, but hey, it's narration. What can I tell you? Now here's the last hill. This can be wet or dry. It's dry today in most places, and sometimes there's a spot there's ruts at that it's wet and slick, and it's fairly deep ruts up here. We're kind of coming to the end of it, and I know I've done several of these videos and the narration might be slightly different sometimes, and I stay in it a little bit here too because I have been known to drag here. That's why I kind of move on a little faster there. And here it is from behind. There's a couple of rocks. You need to make sure you have your tire placement, depending on your clearance, of course. Knowing your vehicle is probably one of the most important things. Knowing where those tires are, knowing how to get over. There's a pretty good sized rock there. I think I went over it, and depending on your vehicle, you can probably get around it. JT went around it there. There, I bought my back end drug. You saw the stripe in the mud. There's another one. I know this Jeep does that, so I usually go on a little more. So once you get up here, we're going to make a right on Clifton Rd Road. I know I sped this up a lot. Don't drive too fast slinging mud in front of this house. Try to be as respectful as you can to the people around here so we can keep these trails open. Now at the end of Clifton Rd Road, we're pulling into a park and ride. We're going to take a break here and take a couple of pictures and kind of hang out, and that's the end of the ride. Up here at the light, we're going to make a right on 460 back toward Frenchburg. And there's my wife, there I am, and then JT's going to walk up here and we're going to talk a minute. And there's a picture at the end. And we're going to pull on out of here. And hope everybody's enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate you watching. Thanks again.